Welcome back, viewers, to the Stellar Twin Voyagers program. Today, I, Nova A239, will once again guide you through the journey of siblings striving to realize their colorful dreams. Let's explore together the wonders of the universe and stories full of hope that inspire us all. Lunch break is over, and Grandpa has returned to the field to oversee the villagers' work in preparation for tomorrow's harvest festival. Aster and Cosmo, along with Mom, also head back to the field to continue their weaving work with the women and children of the village. As they arrive, they find the field bustling with housewives who have already begun their tasks. Mom quickly takes her place and joins them in weaving. Aster and Cosmo join the other children to continue their remaining weaving and handicrafts. With enthusiasm, they finish their work, and within less than 2 hours, everything is completed. Seeing all the work done, Mom announces to everyone in the field, "All right, ladies and children, our work is finished. Let's now bring our crafts to the men so they can adorn the palanquins prepared for tomorrow's festival. You may take home the tampas you've made." "All right," the villagers respond. Together, we carry sacks filled with our handicrafts to the men working in the field near the community health center. There, their sons see Grandpa directing the men to decorate the palanquins, and Dad painting a large palanquin with his friends. "Dad, Grandpa, we're here," Aster and Cosmo wave their hands. "Oh, come here, my sons have arrived," Dad says to his friends. "Can we help with anything, Dad?" asks Aster. "Wow, your sons are really understanding," one of Dad's friends remarks. "Yes, they are obedient boys. It's all right, let the adults handle this. You two join Mom and the others. Aren't you going to place the harvest offerings on the new frame of the earth goddess that we've just built?" Dad says. "Okay, Dad, then we'll go help Mom first," Aster says, taking his brother with him. Dad nods, smiles, and continues his work. "Mom, can we help?" Cosmo asked as he approached their mother. "Oh, you're here. Let's arrange these tampas at the feet of the earth goddess, then place the harvest offerings according to the 3 tampas that have been completed. Mom and the other adult women will work on the upper part of the statue of the earth goddess," said Mom. "All right, Mom," said Aster and Cosmo, then hurried to help. The enthusiasm of the villagers was high as they prepared for the harvest festival to be held tomorrow, and before they knew it, all their work was done before sunset. "All right," said Grandpa, "now let's cover this statue and palanquin with tarps and cloths so that the harvest we've placed here won't be eaten by animals and birds. Let's go, men, this is our last task for today." "Ready, Elder," said Dad and the other men. They quickly grabbed tarps and large pieces of cloth to cover the palanquin and the statue of the earth goddess they had built, and finally, everything was done. "All right, now we can all go home and rest. Please don't be late tomorrow. We'll be here in this field by 8 in the morning. So, get some rest early," said Grandpa. All the villagers nodded in understanding and dispersed. Aster and Cosmo quickly went home with Dad, Grandpa, and Mom. Suddenly, Aster remembered, "Oh no, we haven't taken the grazing sheep out. Grandpa, Dad, Mom, we're going to herd our sheep first. We'll be back soon." Mom, Grandpa, and Dad nodded. "Don't take too long. It's already dusk. I'll also prepare dinner soon," said Mom. Aster and Cosmo nodded and quickly took their sheep from the pen to the pasture. After the sheep had grazed to their heart's content, the 2 boys brought them back to their pen. Then they hurried back home. Themselves. "We're back," Aster and Cosmo said as they entered the house. "Oh, my sons are back. Come on, quickly go take a bath. Look, your mom has prepared dinner," said Dad. "All right, Dad," said the 2 boys, then quickly grabbed their change of clothes and ran to the backyard. After finishing their bath, they promptly joined their parents and Grandpa at the dinner table. "All right, let's take your seats," Mom said as she served dinner at the table. Then Mom sat down, and the family happily had dinner together. "Wow, the food today was so satisfying. There was fish, chicken, I haven't eaten this much in a long time," Dad said happily, laughing. "That's because you've worked hard today, so I prepared something special," Mom replied. Grandpa then got up from his seat and headed to the front yard. As he walked, Grandpa instructed, "Oh my grandchildren, today we won't go to the pasture. After helping your mom and brushing your teeth, go straight to your rooms. Grandpa will tell you a story there. We need to rest early so we can wake up early tomorrow." "Okay, Grandpa," both grandchildren replied understandingly. They immediately helped Mom tidy up the dining table, clean the utensils, brushed their teeth, and quickly rushed to their rooms. There, Grandpa was already waiting for them. "Ah, so my grandkids are all done. Good, lie down then. Tonight, Grandpa will tell you more about our beautiful moon. Still interested?" Grandpa asked. "Yes, Grandpa, yes, Grandpa," both grandchildren exclaimed eagerly. "Good. So last night when you were lying down with Grandpa and Dad, we briefly touched on tides. Even though we're a family of farmers and not fishermen, this is still something important for you to know. So Grandpa will explain it today. Tides are the rise and fall of sea levels caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun, as well as the rotation of the earth. Remember that there are 2 celestial bodies that have a significant influence on Earth, the sun because of its massive size, and the moon due to its relatively close distance to us. The moon has the greatest influence on tides because of its proximity to Earth. The moon's gravity pulls the water on the side of Earth facing it, causing a high tide on that side. On the opposite side of the Earth, the centrifugal force caused by the rotation of the Earth-Moon system creates another high tide. This happens because the Earth and the moon rotate around a common center of mass inside the Earth, but not at the center of the Earth itself. The sun also affects tides, although its influence is smaller compared to the moon because of its greater distance. The combined gravitational pull of the moon and the sun can reinforce or weaken each other's tidal effects. Hence, we have 2 terms here, high tide and low tide. High tide occurs on the side of Earth directly facing the moon and on the opposite side due to centrifugal force. Meanwhile, low tide occurs at points that are 90 degrees from the line connecting the Earth and the moon. Furthermore, there are also terms known as spring tide and neap tide. Spring tide occurs when the moon and the sun are aligned with the Earth, either during the new moon syzygy or full moon. In this position, the gravitational forces of the moon and the sun work together, pulling the ocean waters with combined strength. As a result, high tides are higher than usual, and low tides are lower than usual. This phenomenon is known as spring tide. It occurs twice every lunar month, during the new moon and full moon phases. Secondly, there is neap tide. This occurs when the moon is in the first quarter or third quarter phase. In this position, the gravitational pulls of the moon and the sun form a 90-degree angle to each other, weakening their combined gravitational pull. As a result, high tides are lower than usual, and low tides are higher than usual. This phenomenon is known as neap tide. It also occurs twice every lunar month, during the first quarter and third quarter phases. Yes, next Grandpa will explain about the phases of the moon, although Grandpa is sure you already know about them. "Just a moment, Grandpa will have a sip of water," Grandpa said. Grandpa took a sip of water, then continued, "All right, Grandpa will proceed. The phases of the moon occur due to the relative changes in position of the Earth, moon, and sun. Firstly, the first phase is the new moon. The moon is positioned between the Earth and the sun. The side of the moon facing the Earth is not illuminated by sunlight and appears dark. Secondly, the waxing crescent phase. The moon begins to move away from the new moon position. A small portion of the moon's sunlit side is visible from Earth. Thirdly, the first quarter phase. The moon has completed about 1/4 of its orbit. Half of the moon's sunlit side is visible from Earth. Fourthly, the waxing gibbous phase. More than half of the moon's sunlit side is visible. The moon continues to approach the full moon position. Fifthly, the full moon phase. The moon is on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun, with the Earth in between. The moon's sunlit side is fully visible from Earth. Sixthly, the waning gibbous phase. After the full moon, the portion of the moon's sunlit side begins to decrease. Seventhly, the third quarter phase. The moon has completed about 3/4 of its orbit. Half of the moon's sunlit side is visible from Earth, but it's the side opposite to the first quarter. Lastly, the waning crescent phase. Before returning to the new moon phase, only a small portion of the moon's sunlit side is visible. Yes, those are all the phases of the moon. Actually, this can be demonstrated by shining a flashlight on a basketball and observing the shadow that forms. Grandpa thinks there might already be similar experiments in the books you read, so Grandpa doesn't need to do it for you. Lastly for today, while wrapping up our discussion about the moon, Grandpa will explain a bit about calendars and the synodic and sidereal periods. So there are two important terms known, the synodic period and the sidereal period. Sidereal period is the time it takes for a celestial object such as the moon or a planet to complete one full orbit around a star like the sun relative to the fixed stars in the background. For the moon itself, the sidereal period is defined as the time it takes for the moon to complete one orbit around the Earth relative to the fixed stars. This is approximately 27.3 days. Then, there's the synodic period. The synodic period is the time it takes for a celestial object to return to the same position relative to the sun and the observer on Earth, for example, from one new moon to the next. For the moon, the synodic period is the time it takes for the moon to return to the same phase, for example, from one new moon to the next. This is approximately 29.5 days, and this is what we call 1 month. So, the moon orbits the Earth in an elliptical path with a sidereal period of about 27.3 days. This means that in 27.3 days, the moon returns to the same position relative to the background stars. This period is used to measure the moon's position relative to the fixed stars, providing an accurate picture of the moon's orbit in three-dimensional space. Meanwhile, the synodic period, which is about 29.5 days long, is the time it takes for the moon to return to the same phase, for example, from one new moon to the next. This period is longer than the sidereal period because the Earth also moves around the sun. 2. Return to the same phase. The moon must travel slightly further than one full orbit because the Earth moves in its orbit during this period. Therefore, there are two types of calendars known. First, the lunar calendar. The lunar calendar is based on the synodic period of the moon. For example, the months in the Islamic Hijri calendar are about 29 or 30 days, following the phases of the moon from one new moon to the next. Second, the solar calendar. The solar calendar, like the widely used Gregorian calendar today, is based on the Earth's sidereal period around the sun, which is about 365.25 days. However, the months in this calendar, like January, February, etc., are not aligned with the moon's phases. There are several consequences of the difference between the sidereal and synodic periods. First, lunar phases such as new moon, crescent moon, first quarter, full moon, and third quarter repeat every synodic period of about 29.5 days. Due to the difference between the sidereal and synodic periods, lunar phases do not always occur on the same day each month in the solar calendar. Second, eclipses. Solar eclipses occur when the moon is between the Earth and the sun, new moon, while lunar eclipses occur when the Earth is between the sun and the moon, full moon. These eclipses do not occur every month because of the moon's tilted orbit relative to the ecliptic, the plane of Earth's orbit around the sun. As for eclipses, Grandpa will explain another time. And finally, for today, Grandpa wants to explain a bit about Pluto and some trivia about our solar system. Pluto, as you know, used to be a planet in our solar system and is now classified as a dwarf planet. Its mass is approximately 0.0022 times that of Earth's mass, its radius is 0.18 times that of Earth's radius. Its density is about 34% that of Earth's, and its volume is about 0.0065 times that of Earth's volume. Pluto's average surface temperature is around -229 degrees Celsius 44 K, with a temperature range of about -240 degrees Celsius to -217 degrees Celsius 33 K to 56 K. Pluto's surface appears reddish-brown to whitish-yellow due to frozen methane on its surface, altered by ultraviolet radiation from the sun into tholins, complex organic compounds that give it a reddish-brown color. Pluto's surface is composed of nitrogen ice, methane ice, and carbon monoxide ice, while its subsurface likely consists of water ice and rock. On Pluto, several unique features have been identified. First, there is Sputnik Planitia, a vast heart-shaped nitrogen ice basin. Then there's Tartarus Dorsa, mountains that resemble razor blades with sharp peaks. Next, Cthulhu Macula, a dark-colored region thought to contain tholins. And finally, cryovolcanoes, where there are indications of ice volcanoes, such as Wright Mons and Picard Mons. Apart from Pluto, there are several other interesting dwarf planets that Grandpa briefly wants to mention here. First, Eris. Its mass is about 0.0028 times Earth's mass, and its radius is about 0.182 times Earth's radius. Eris is composed of methane ice and likely rock. Eris itself has a highly reflective surface and is considered one of the most reflective objects in the solar system. Next, there's Haumea. Its mass is 0.00067 times Earth's mass, and its longest axis radius is about 0.25 times Earth's radius. It is composed of water ice and rock. Haumea has an ellipsoidal shape due to its extremely fast rotation and has a small ring. Next, there's Makemake. Its mass is about 0.00052 times Earth's mass, and its radius is about 0.113 times Earth's radius. Its composition includes methane, nitrogen, and ethane ice. Makemake's surface is very bright and rich in methane. Next, onto some trivia. This is also the last for tonight. First, the tallest mountain in the solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars, with a height of approximately 22 kilometers, making it the largest shield volcano in the solar system. Second, the deepest canyon in the solar system is Valles Marineris on Mars, with depths of up to 7 kilometers. It is a large canyon system about 4,000 kilometers long. Third, the longest lasting storm in the solar system is the Great Red Spot on Jupiter. It has been going on for at least 400 years. Its wind speeds reach up to 432 kilometers per hour. This storm is large enough to engulf Earth twice over. Fourth, the fastest storm is on Neptune, Great Dark Spot. Its wind speeds exceed 2,100 kilometers per hour. This is the fastest wind ever measured in the solar system. Fifth, the most beautiful ring system is Saturn's rings, consisting of pieces of ice and rock that create a spectacular appearance. Yes, I think today's story is enough for now. Grandpa himself is a bit tired. Let's continue another day. Now, let's rest early because tomorrow we have to wake up very early. All right, Grandpa, said Aster. Thank you, Grandpa, for telling us so much about the amazing things in outer space. If that's the case, we'll go to sleep now, Grandpa. Good night, Grandpa. Good night, Grandpa, said Cosmo. Grandpa stood up from his seat and kissed his grandsons on their foreheads. Good night, turn off the light, Grandpa. Grandpa then left the room, leaving his grandsons to quickly fall asleep in the world of dreams that took them on a journey through the starry seas. And so concludes today's episode of the Stellar Twin Voyagers. Enjoyable, wasn't it? Would you like to hear more amazing stories from our young shepherd adventurers as they carve out their dreams among the stars? Therefore, stay with us on this program, and we will meet again in the next episode. In short, I'm Nova A239, thrilled to have shared this story with you today. Until next time, let's